We would still have to pay the money back, but we wouldn't have to pay the interest anymore on anything. I mean, do you think the banks could get away with what they do if their boards of directors lived on our block? Then as these new types of communities begin to see the benefit of not sending its money elsewhere by growing produce that's harvested and sold by its potential juvenile delinquents turned entrepreneurs, they could begin to invest in local energy projects on the same kind of neighborhood scale as their gardens while coming up with their own ways of getting it done. Then the most successful experiences with this would naturally spill over into other communities. As communities learn how to better support their energy consumption without so much reliance on foreign or corporate sources, the natural course to follow next would be to invest more in this new kind of independence, not only because it works, but because the money would be there to do so. As individuals and communities become more involved in planning their own futures, they would begin to manage for themselves all the work done in the community. Since all work done would be motivated by profits, with the first intent being to keep money in the community rather than paying it out, it would create a new kind of hustle and bustle in our currently lifeless neighborhoods, where new cultural identities and different brands of leadership would begin to grow out of it. This would affect all manner of business and opportunity at every level of society. Money would flow in every direction imaginable, while debt would slowly begin to become extinct. This would happen as new ideas and innovations became the new rule of the day. There would be music in the streets at night, next to the hustle of workers heading out in the morning to bring back money from the outside world, while those who stay home to work the hood find ever better ways to improve life for their customers, friends, family, and themselves. Eventually, every neighborhood would have its own equipment and shops that could handle any manner of project, which we already have in a way. It's just that while a Bobcat is being trucked from here to Maryland to move some dirt around, one from here is on its way to Richmond to clean up a construction site. We have shops of all manner and sorts around the perimeters of our communities, but we travel far and wide to get things done. I'm, however, talking about shops and equipment that serve particular neighborhoods that everyone has access to collectively, ones that are paid for by the communities, the same as they are now, just through a much more complex process that allows our best efforts to be taken away from us by the people we owe money and taxes to, which brings me to another point. How long do you think we're going to put up with taxes to pay government we don't need anymore? We already have associations that pool resources in many neighborhoods, but all they do is serve the establishment by preventing us from being able to provide these kinds of benefits for ourselves with their rules on how we manage our own properties. This way of managing our communities is very destructive. If we hit a depression where resources became scarce, resources we could have easily been providing for ourselves at great benefit and value to our neighborhoods and its citizens, these associations who believe it's their job to protect property values over the value of quality of lives would have been the primary cause of solutions like this never being able to get off the ground in the past. If this dream ever evolved to that degree, it wouldn't be long before someone thought about building a neighborhood food processing plant. That's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from little neighborhood factories with the ability to manufacture goods for the community and even export, or even enclosing yards with glass so they can produce food year-round while providing heat for the homes they surround during the winter. What about taking homes to 3 or 4, 5 stories high while doing the same beneath them? Why do we always look for ways to move elsewhere for an upgrade rather than finding ways to make our dreams come true right where we are? When you start looking for answers to these kinds of questions, the possibilities are endless. How would you like to be able to design a chandelier for your home? Then go down the street to the local machine shop with a friend who knows how to use the equipment and build the frame. Then head over to the neighborhood glass kiln and help the glass maker there produce custom-made crystals made raw from sand and charcoal for it. I like that idea a lot. That sounds like freedom to me. That's how our forefathers built their communities here in Northern Virginia before our economy became globalized. Now we work in offices moving information and paperwork around to generate money that we then import everything with. We're cogs in a machine waiting for the day the machine breaks down and dies, when we could be using this window of freedom our forefathers created for us to build something that would live forever no matter what kind of trouble was thrown our way. Look at the earthquake in Haiti. What kind of community would you rather live in if the East Coast was hit by something like that? The one we have now where we have to wait for government to rescue? or one that stays miles ahead of those kinds of situations all the time? When looking at what happened in Haiti, do you wonder if we should be building differently so that no degree of earthquake can make us that vulnerable? What kind of community would you rather live in and plan doing something about it? One depending on elected officials who tax and regulate our way towards making things work, or one where everyone already has their feet on the ground heading in that direction anyway? They just haven't thought of these new ways to improve themselves yet. What about insurance money we send to big corporations that we never see again, unless we do happen to apply for relief that then isn't always provided? That money has become like an entitlement to them, while they seem to resent having to take care of us when the time comes that we need it. I look around where I live and wonder how much money we pay collectively in car insurance compared to how much is needed to pay for the mistakes we make. Do you think a bunch of free-minded Americans who manage their communities independent of the big governments and corporations are going to send millions of dollars a month out of the neighborhood for services that they can provide for themselves without the money leaving the neighborhood? And who's ever proposed the idea that if we can drive safe enough to never have accidents, then we don't need any car insurance in the first place? Or if we never get sick, we wouldn't need health insurance? What if there was no crime? How much money could we save if there was no crime? Who's even talking about these kinds of things? So the idea is at least in the air, rather than us always thinking we're stuck with what we have and have no choice but to learn to deal with it the only way we're offered by the system. If there were so few accidents that we didn't need insurance anymore, then surely collective community savings would be able to cover accidents that did happen. If we can get our mistakes down to a level that we can begin to look for solutions that may eliminate them altogether, well, we're not going to get there if we build our community so that we're dependent on people who know nothing about our needs to take care of us. In fact, we're not going to get there unless we know what our needs are, which by itself would take some time to learn. It all starts by seeing lawns as having the potential to support suburban farms that support the neighborhoods they're grown in. If we can do that, we can do anything, and no one can ever put us in this sad economic state of affairs again.